welcome back. For the second leg of conversations on the program this morning, our studio is being graced by Barrister Peterson Ihunwueze, who is a legal practitioner as well as a public affairs commentator. Very good morning to you, Barrister.
God bless you. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be here again.
And Happy New Year.
I wish you the best.
This is the second quarter of the year, but it's the first time we're meeting this year.
Very well. It has been busy all over going from one court and all that. But we thank God.
Fighting for the cause of the common man.
Very well. Justice.
That's wonderful.
It's a pleasure.
We're talking about justice, Barrister. A lot of people are disgruntled with the Rivers State emergency ruling, citing that the president was not just to Governor Siminalayi Fubara, the Ijaw community in Rivers State, the supporters of the suspended governor, and even the People's Democratic Party. What do you make of that before we come to the real matter at hand with regards to the development there?
Okay, the law is very clear on that, on section 305 about emergency rule. Of course, we can recall what President Goodluck Jonathan did, wherein he declared state of emergency in Yobe and other northeastern states. So what he did then was just to declare state of emergency and reinforce the security architecture in those states. And this is what one would have expected the president to do rather than suspending the democratic institution in Rivers State. Of course, just like then there was a pronouncement or a comment by the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. He said that the president, citing the issue of insecurity, that is a failure of the president himself because he is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Yeah. So you can't attribute that to the governor who is not in charge of security.
But the argument from the other side is that the governor is the chief security officer of the state.
Does the governor control the police? Does the governor control the soldier? Does the governor control the Navy, who are, of course, manning our waterways? Of course, the boss stopped at the president. So my thinking is that state of emergency should have been declared. Just like when you say declaring state of emergency in the education sector, what do? You rigid the institution. You look at things, what you do to ensure that things are done properly. So removing the security, suspending or removing democratic institution is never the way out.
Now, Barrister Peterson, the Niger Delta Congress is currently mobilizing for a mass protest, both at home here in Nigeria and abroad, internationally. We hear that the diaspora faction of the NDC is planning to protest in front of the White House in Washington, D.C. against the emergency ruling. We know that a lot of individuals have talked about it, talked against it, but this is the first time we are seeing a massive protest with regards to this issue. Do you think it will in any way change the ruling in the state?
Yeah. Well, the state of emergency stays, okay, but the protest is also, it will go a long way to register people's displeasure over the position. Of course, the international communities are watching. The investors cannot come where the rule of law are not being obeyed by the government, and also it's also a dent to the image of the government. So no government will want its image to be disparaged by its action, or people to be protesting against the government position or government policies. So I support the protest. I support it in all intent, provided it will be carried on within the ambit of law. Of course, it's guaranteed by the laws. So I support that. And also, I was thinking that before now that the attorney generals of the state should have sued the federal government. Let the Supreme Court interpret that section 305 as to whether it envisages the president's powers to suspend democratically elected institutions. Because, of course, if you look at the separation of powers, there is distinction between the federal and the state.
Yes.
And we have also seen court making pronouncement, outlawing such positions. We have seen that in local government. We have also seen that where the court held that it is unlawful for the government to suspend a democratic elected institution.
You have cited that it is unlawful. Now, this is one major argument that has been on the front burner of this state of emergency ruling. Can the president suspend a governor just because a state of emergency rule has been declared in the state. Couldn't the president have easily declared that state of emergency ruling and allowed the governor to continue being the governor?
That's my position, that you can declare a state of emergency, just like what happened in Yobe and Borno and Adamawa, okay, yes, where President Goodluck Jonathan declared state of emergency, fortified the security architecture, and still allowed the democratic institution to be in place. That's my position. So I'm thinking that before now that of course it has been done. Of course, some acts will be continuing unless the court make a pronouncement. I'm thinking that other state attorney generals, other state government will sue the federal government for because I watched the interview of the Attorney General of Federation, Lateef Fabemi. Yes. He said that he was there when the president made the pronouncement, yes, which means that it was in agreement with him. He endorsed that. So I'm thinking that somebody should take it up. Let the court.
And he was quite vocal against Governor Siminalayi Fubara, citing that he was the one inciting the violence and the bombings of pipelines in the state. These were the words of the Attorney General.
If a governor incites violence, there are perpetrators of the act. What do? You go and arrest them. We have the NIA, we have the DSS, we have the military, we have the, you understand, we have the police.
Arrest
and prosecute. Investigate and prosecute. That's what they should have done, and not to go and declare state of emergency. It is the governor that is manning the territorial jurisdiction of Rivers State. Is it under his control? No, it's under the federal government's control. Just like what happened in Edo State, they removed the commissioner of police. Okay, the federal government should have also removed the governor. But what I'm seeing is just is an interplay of politics, and I'm very sure that if Rivers State should be APC state, the government would have taken or might have taken a different position.
We will come to Edo State in just a moment, and I like the fact that you had mentioned it, because a lot of people's stance on this particular Uromi killing is the fact that the president should have declared a state of emergency and also removed the governor. But before we get to that, we hear that the sole administrator of River State, retired Vice Admiral Iboete Bass, is considering a new 2025 appropriation bill for River State.
Well, my thinking, if we appropriate it, I don't know the House that will give approval to that. Though he's a sole administrator and all that.
The approval might have to just come from the top, being the president.
President or National Assembly, if the power, the law abodes vacuum. Of course, the governance must continue, no matter what the situation is. I'm also not in support of some of the policies and decisions that is taken, like suspending the board chairman and all that. He was sent there to ensure that all the democratic institutions are in place, so that after 6 years, these people will come back. But now the man is going beyond the expectation, doing as we know that it's partisan, but at least you do it in a way that it will be as if it's a neutral position. So my calling or my position is that he should do things that will make for the time being of these 6 months, so that he can give away the legal and the democratic institution will come back. We shouldn't expect this in this 21st century.
Well, Barrister, let's move over to Edo State. We hear that the leadership of Edo State as well as Kano State have brokered peace following the dastardly Uromi massacre that left about 14 individuals dead. Now, this is coming off the week of threats of reprisal attacks in the northern part of the country by certain individuals who have made videos that have gone viral on social media. This revelation was made by the Defense Headquarters much recently, a statement by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa. What do you make of this, Barrister? Is this good news, should I say?
Yes, I must commend the governor of Edo State for taking the proactive measures.
Yeah.
Because we know how these things happens. Before you know what is happening, it will escalate in another place. There will be a reprisal attack and all that. So, and also the police formation, the police, Nigerian police force, removing the CP, bringing him. In fact, when I was coming, I was just having a retrospect on what transpired. I said, now, this person that they are going to, the new CP now, that he has a task to perform.
Yeah.
Looking out that such issue don't happen again. Apart from that, also ensuring that that there is security beefed up, especially in volatile areas of the state. So it's a welcome development, and the Kano state government talked about parading the suspect, and also that the arrest has been made, and also going ahead to ensure that compensation is made. And I strongly believe that compensation should be paid to the families, and peace is better.
Peace is better, Barrister Peterson. However, there have been criticisms with regards to the actions of the governor. What sort of criticisms? People have said that in recent times, it appears that the northern part of the country has been over-pampered by the rest of the nation, and that in as much as the killings in Uromi was quite unfortunate, there have also been killings in northern Nigeria of Southerners, and no such visits has been made by any northern governor to the southern part of the country.
Well, you don't, assuming that there is evil, you don't pay evil with evil. And when you are, what you expect others to do for you, you go ahead and do it. What the governor did, he is perfectly right, and they advise him right. We are talking about human beings. Must we continue to lose people? So what the governor did was very right, because the life, just like good Lord said, that his political ambition does not want the single life of any Nigerian. So a life of any Nigerian does not what, whatsoever you are talking about. So anything that we can do that will make us to be together, that will bring us together, that will bring peace, we should encourage that in this country. So the governor is commended, and when such a thing, we don't pray that it happens. When such a thing happens again, we also encourage whoever that saddles with the leadership to take proactive measures to avoid more damages being created.
Now, how do we also ensure that in terms of integration and peaceful coexistence in the country, this is not news that a lot of Southerners live in the north, most Northerners live, or some Northerners live in the southern part of the country, but we continue to see such clashes, we continue to see such killings. At what point will all Nigerians come to a conclusion and understand that a Nigerian, irrespective of tribe, irrespective of ethnic inclination, irrespective of religion, is first of all a Nigerian?
Okay, if you look of recent, the issue of such has reduced drastically, unlike in the 90s that we used to hear Kano riot, Kano this and all that. So it's just a more or a wake-up call or further call to the security architectures to ensure that peace, they maintain law and order, because why they are being paid is to maintain law and order. Then also to call the leaders to ensure that there are programs and events that brings us together rather than dividing us. Something like NYC that's, bring Nigerians together, something like emphasis that the Nigerians are brought together and all that. So it's a wake-up call to every leader to bring we actually better or felt better when we are together, when we're in peace and when we're in unity, because there is strength in unity. So that is the position.
Well, a very strong position made by Barrister Peterson Ihunwueze. In unity, there is strength. Well, let's revisit Rivers State, where we saw a recent viral video of certain individuals who are believed to be of the Ijaw ethnic inclination in the state holding up a coffin with pictures of the FCT Minister Barrister Ihunwueze on the coffin. Now, this is off the back of certain purported allegations on social media that the minister had slumped during a meeting with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and was flown to France. Now, days later, we saw the minister with the president during the Eid al-Fitr celebrations. And yesterday, the minister had made strong comments, sending out a warning to those instigating this fake news, citing that he will sign their condolence register. As funny as it may seem, Barrister, but this is this is a very interesting turn of events. I can't help but find it quite comical.
Very, very well.
Yeah.
Okay, you know that the worst thing that you can wish somebody is dead.
True.
And life and death does not lie in our hands. is the God that giveth life. He's also the one that takes it.
Yeah.
So the fact, that's the word that one can wish. In fact, when I heard the news, and the following day I heard that he led saw the news again, that he led the Abuja indigenes to the president for the Salah celebration. I was happy, because whatever it is, we cannot take it out from Wike. He's doing very well in Abuja here. We can see infrastructure development and whatever that is happening. The River State issue is another problem of itself.
On its own entirely.
So we wish him well. We in Abuja here, we appreciate him. He's a Mr. Project, and he should continue with his good luck and the goodwill and good things that he's doing, good works that he's doing everywhere in this Abuja, flyovers everywhere, massive road infrastructure and all that. So we wish him well, and he will live and live out his tenure, and nobody should wish him dead. He will live, because nobody, even if somebody is wishing him such, the person doesn't have the powers to do that. It's only God that has power to take life. So Mr. Minister should not bother himself about that. After all, if he's being criticized, it means that he's doing well. When they stop criticizing, it means that you are not relevant. It means that it's relevant. So you should keep focus and ensure that Abuja residents continue to benefit and enjoy from his good works that he's doing here.
Well, Barrister, the last time we saw something of this nature happen was during the former president, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's administration, where a certain protest in Kano, saw people carrying a coffin with the picture of the former president on it and saying, "Rest in peace, Jonathan." In situations like this, what can the aggrieved person possibly do? Is this a criminal offense? Is this a crime? Can these individuals be prosecuted in any way? Because it appears that they are not physically harming him, but in terms of emotional distress and tarnishing of image, we could consider that. What do you think?
Yes, such actions, such protests can also be, such protesters can be arrested.
Yeah.
Because the law does not allow or permit such a protest. It's not a peaceful protest. It can cause social unrest. It can also cause a riot and other social vices. It can also cause social public disturbance and nuisance. So it's also a call to security agencies that when such happens, of course we have seen security agencies arresting peaceful protesters. So this is where they should channel their strength and ensure that such a thing doesn't happen again. But he shouldn't bother himself. Even I can also remember that we that are from Abia State, the present governor now, when he contested in 2015, they also paraded the coffee and all that. Yeah. Placing coffee in strategic position and places in Aba and all that. But it doesn't make the man not to win after a period of time. So he should not bother himself and all that. President Goodluck Jonathan, although he felt bad, but I think he's better now. So he should not bother himself with such. And those who are doing that, is not a good way or a legal way to register your displeasure over somebody's action that you may feel that is not in line with what you believe or with the law. Though they should do better. This is a 21st century and much is expected from them. There should be a better approach to that.
A lot of speculations with regards to the situation in River State have been centered around violence. It has been centered around tensions brewing, between intermilitants and also ethnic groups. The suspended governor is of the Ijaw ethnic extraction. The Ijaw people have never had to produce a political figure of that nature in the state or even nationally, except when Governor Fubara became governor within the state. And then just barely 2 years into his administration, he's suspended. They are very aggrieved. And not to sugarcoat things, but this particular act was done by the Ijaw people, the act of nailing pictures of the minister on the coffin, citing that he was behind the entire situation, the entire problem in River State. Do you think that there might be room for reconciliation, or are we seeing the situation in River State deteriorating to the point of militancy? Okay,
well, I expected the Ijaw leaders or elders to broker peace between Wike and the governor of Fubara.
Yeah.
Okay, because just like I said before now, peace is actually better. Okay, there's no any situation that you cannot manage. For the fact that you are seeing a governor and a godfather and all that, this is not new in Nigerian system. Okay, but there are ways to manage it and manage it and manage it. At the end of the day, everybody will be better for it. So I expected the joint leaders, instead of threatening violence and all that, to come up with a better approach to solve this problem. You can engage the stakeholders. You can even visit the minister, you know, have a one-on-one discussion and know what the problem is. Of course, you can remember what Obasanjo did during his days. They say he paid a visit to Atiku Abubakar, paid a visit to this and paid a visit to this leader. You know, discuss the problem and see, chart a way forward. So one is expecting the job. Of course, this is not the first time that they are threatening. You know, somebody was telling me that they threatened before that if they remove Goodluck Jonathan, if he didn't win, that this one, at the end of the Goodluck did not win and heaven did not fall. So somebody also said that they are saying that the governor will not be, that the governor will be removed and nothing will happen. And the governor has been suspended and we are still living. So I expected the joint leaders to brace up to the challenge. Now they have gotten the power to extend, you know, the olive branch, the peace across the major ethnic groups. We of course we know that they are not majority ethnic group in the River State. They should liaise and have a collaboration with other ethnic groups and other parts of the state and ensure that this power that is in their place, that they make best use of it.
Well, Barrister, let us move on to another issue in the news. I want to read out a headline story on the front page of the Niger News Direct, and then we'll come back to this conversation. Let's see if we can pick up a copy of the Niger News Direct in just a moment with regards to recent revelations made by ICPC in terms of local government funds and how they are being misappropriated. Now, the headline here says over 60% of local government corruption cases are linked to diversion of health and infrastructure funds. This story is captured elaboratively on news page 21 of the Nigerian News Direct. Very interesting. At a time when local government councils have been granted financial and administrative autonomy, we see this revelation by ICPC. And we all know that in local government area councils or in local government councils, the major things that individuals look out for is health, primary health care service delivery, as well as motorable roads and infrastructural development.
Including education.
Including education,
Very
yes.
well. Okay, well, one would have asked, you know, after the decision of the Supreme Court about the local government autonomy, we also know that that autonomy is in principle. Okay, because we know that the governors are still holding sway of the fund of the local government. In fact, we have done a paper on that and all that and have an intellectual discussion on that. And also looking at whether the local government can have the capacity to provide those essential needs that are required of a local government. Because the JAC account, joint local government and state account, what they normally do is that when this money comes, it will be pulled into that account. The state will take out fund, pay primary school teachers, pay healthcare workers and all that. Then if you send this money to local government, some of the local government chairmen, they don't even be in the office. They are not even anywhere close to the local government. Oh. Some of them are in Abuja here. Some of them are in the state headquarters or state capital of their state. So the corruption in local government is appalling. Because if you go to some communities, in fact, you see one ward with one health center, what they call health center, you know, and the condition of that health center is appalling. Yeah. You can't even wish somebody. I was in Edo State, some part of Edo State last year. I saw what they call General Hospital. My brother, you can't even wish your enemy to be taken to that place.
In Edo State?
Yes, in Edo State. So what are we talking about? If the state, what they call General Hospital, cannot be up to steam, imagine the fate of the local government. So the provision of infrastructure by the local government, we know that it is at 0%. Then the healthcare that the local government should be doing, I don't know how far it is. In fact, the governors will tell you that they are building health centers in all the wards. in the state.
In the state.
So there should be a call. In fact, there should be a further step to enlighten the health officers or people that are in health sector in those local governments what is accruable to them, so that if such is not coming, if such development or such infrastructural development or such drugs or such things that they need to get, equipment are not there, they will raise alarm. Then another thing is also to ask, now the corruption they're talking about, when what time frame are the investigation carried on? Yeah. What time frame is it now that there is a local government autonomy, whether it's in principle or whatever it is, or before now? Then if it is before now, of course we know that these governors are holding sway. They are running the local government with a caretaker, so the governor should also be held responsible. Then if it is now, good, we have alleged elected executive chairman of the local government, so they should also be held responsible. Then let them refer to whoever that is in charge.
Barrister Peterson, you seem not to really trust the entire Supreme Court ruling on this local government autonomy, and it appears that you are not entirely certain that the local government council chairman are in charge of the affairs of this council. Not
that I don't trust. The Supreme Court decision is Supreme Court decision. I'm in, of course.
But you don't trust the implementation by the government.
I have no discretionary powers to either choose or not to. The Supreme Court decision, that's the law. But what I'm talking about is the implementation. You know that this governor, they have a way of circumventing the law. Okay, look at what they did. They will just go and appoint their cronies. In fact, when we did, there's a program that we did in one of the universities.
Yes.
The lead presenter was former Attorney General of Nasarawa State. He said that what they do is that the governors will now bring a power of attorney. You understand? Telling giving the local government chairman, they will sign, giving the money to remove funds back to the state governor. You understand?
I have mentioned this here on the program a number of times, and people have refuted it. And I'm glad you are back in this game.
I say I heard from, it was an intellectual discourse, okay? Former Attorney General of Nasarawa. He said that, see, this is what they do. And some fought against it and all that. So
the ones who fight against it will be thrown out the window.
No, you won't even last to the next day. You won't live to the next day in that office.
So let's talk about the Attorney General and some of the, strong, stern warnings he had sent out to local government council chairmen, citing that even the governors themselves, that while they continue to enjoy immunity at the moment, should any of them flout the Supreme Court ruling with regards to the local government autonomy, the federal government would wait for their tenure to elapse and then prosecute them. Meanwhile, the local government council bosses who do not have immunity will be arrested and prosecuted right away.
In fact, last week we heard of removing immunity to the governors and deputy governors,
which was immediately thrown out.
You understand?
by members of the House of Representatives.
Okay, it's an attempt. So it's a statement. Okay, it's a statement. Although the Supreme Court has said that the governor can be investigated while still in the office,
but not prosecuted.
When he serves as his tenure, he can face. Of course, we are seeing governors being investigated. We've seen some governors, former governor of Anambra State, Obiano, when he finishes, he want to run away and he was arrested at the airport and all that, which means there has been an investigation activity going on in his during his tenure. So it's a welcome development. That's why even this Supreme Court judgment is a welcome, because money is now remitted directly to local government. Okay, then we hold the local government chairman. Let them tell us that they gave it to the governor. It's a very clear this, and thank God that they don't have immunity. So let there be a thorough investigation of this allegation, because it's actually in the local government setting or level that the government reach out to the grassroots. Okay, the springing up of pharmacies and chemists everywhere is the failure of the government to provide healthcare at the primary level.
True.
If these health centers are working, why will you go and patronize private institutions? So it's a call for government to look into healthcare system. And in fact, this issue of health cases should also be, it should be elaborated. I'm looking at, I was talking about with somebody about TED fund yesterday. Yeah. During the failure of the university, what did the government did? Government now say, okay, a little percentage of company gain, profit should be, crystal as TED fund. You understand?
In terms of taxation
to the funding of our universities.
Yes.
That's how it came up. Since the government cannot bring money to fund the universities, let the private sector, let the people pay tax. That's how it's done in US. That's why you say they are paying heavy tax and all that. This tax is used to leverage the gap between the rich and the poor.
Tertiary education tax fund.
Yes, TED fund. Yes, special education trust fund or something. Yeah. So it is tax that is paid by the companies. Then there is an institution. Of course, there's a legal institution. There is also an institutional framework that receive this money, then appropriate it all to the tertiary institution. So now I am of the view that such should also be done to health sector, even if it is 0.5% of company tax. Let it be, be a health trust fund, okay, wherein persons like all this delivery should be free in government hospital. Persons that are above 60 years or 65 years or let's say 60 years, because at that 60 years you are assumed to be retired from government work.
You're mainly surviving on your pension.
Good. So let there be free Medicare for those senior citizens. We can also, if it goes, we can also extend it to from 0 to 10 years in government hospital. So then those money that are generated from that tax will be used in funding those medications or those Medicare programs and projects.
Now I like how you have, detailed and broken this entire taxation fund or tax fund down. However, let's talk about the borrowing spree, but still staying with the local government issue now, and still staying with the inefficiencies of the local government because of the tight grip of governors on their finances. Nigeria recently announced that we're expecting about $500 million from the World Bank. Now, this is in the last 20 months, or in the last 30 months or thereabout. The country has borrowed over 30 billion naira from the World Bank. This I would have to get the statistics right in just a moment. However, certain individuals, certain financial analysts have argued that these funds should be diverted towards three key items. One, ensuring that quality healthcare delivery is met. Two, prices of commodities should be lowered. Thirdly, energy prices should also be lowered. Don't you think that some of these funds being borrowed by the World Bank should be channeled to the betterment of the lives of the ordinary Nigerian rather than capital projects that people rarely benefit from?
Well, I want to quote Peter Obi in one of his sayings. He say, you don't borrow to consume, rather you borrow to invest.
True.
Okay? So if government can borrow money and fix issue of electricity in Nigeria,
yes,
perfect. And it will result to the low or lower price of energy, okay?
Yeah.
Then the issue of healthcare is also very important, okay? Then how do you, reduce or regulate the price of goods and services? It's by production. So which calls for, mechanized farming.
Yes.
It calls for subsidization of farm implements.
Yes.
So these are the things that government can, look into, and, instead of maybe buying grains, let us do farming. Let us go into production. And when you produce, you see that you have empowered people, you have created employment, you have increased our GDP, you understand, and even our export capacity will be increased. So not just borrowing money, let money be borrowed and channeled into the where it is needed,
now
which will get towards increase in production and capacity.
Barrister Peterson, I have the figures here. It says that the federal government has in the last 20 months borrowed 13.21 trillion naira from the World Bank. Yet certain individuals who are within the presidency would argue that the administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari was on a borrowing spree more than what we are seeing today. The President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has barely been in power for 2 years, yet we're seeing the staggering amount being borrowed from international organizations like the World Bank. What are your thoughts on this?
Yes, for the fact that somebody maybe didn't do well in the aspect or a particular aspect of his administration, should not be a yardstick, okay, for you to say that you are even doing better than this. What we witnessed during the tenure of President Olusegun Obasanjo, where we paid our debt, okay? Yes. So all this borrowing, who is going to pay? You are putting the next government, even a future generation, into a very tight situation. And that is why our foreign reserve is depleting. That's why Nigerian currency is on a fall for all stage. Naira does not have any value. First, somebody said that they want to get a 10,000 note and 5,000 note. You know, somebody now says Zimbabwean economy loading, currency now, loading.
This claim was debunked by CBN recently.
So whatever it is, Naira does not have value. Okay, it doesn't have value, and government should look at programs and events that should, and even this borrowing. Have we seen? Look at the amount that is being talked about. Have we seen the what is on ground to commiserate with the borrowing tune of the money that we are talking about? So which means that the corruption is at its peak. It's still at its peak, just as it were before now. So it's a call for the government to do the needful and ensure that, you know, a governance is done by professionals and economy is being rigid to blocking waste and loopholes that is everywhere, you know. So it's a appalling situation. It's not for the fact that the previous government borrowed and borrowed and borrowed. It's not a yardstick or a ground for you to continue from where they stopped.
Well, but Barrister, let's get back to the issue of the local government council and, of course, their spending spree. In what way do you think that we can, in totality, pull out this local government council chairman and even the local government council administration away from the tight grip of these governors who continue to take FAC allocations from the federal government and also dip their hands into the pockets of the LGAs? Okay,
it's a call. Thank God for the Supreme Court decision that said that, of course, there is a case that the Supreme Court has heard even before now, Olafisoye, F1 with Olafisoye, where the Supreme Court heard that by virtue of Section 15, that said that the state will fight corruption, that state includes the federal government. Yes. So EFCC also has right to investigate state crime or crime committed at the state level. Yes. And also thank God for also the one that the Supreme Court just delivered, okay, that the governor, some state government went to court again. So it's one of the functions of criminal justice to deter people from committing crime. It's a wake-up call for EFCC, whatever it is, ICPC, law enforcement agencies, to pick out one or two, you know, up their game on investigation. Okay, because thank God for this internet banking and all that. Any money that moves out,
it's easy to be tracked.
God bless you. The signal will be sent to them. Okay, not even it's easy. A signal will be sent to EFCC. Okay, yes. They will just look at it and do the narration and go and pick the person. When they pick 2 or 3 local government chairmen and use them as scapegoat, others will sit up. Even when the governor is saying bring, you tell him, oh guys, see what happened. And even the governors will also devise a way and know how that is no longer business as usual. Yes. So it's a call for the law enforcement agency, those who are saddled with the responsibility of fighting corruption, to step up their game, because that is why the taxpayers' money is being spent and they are being paid to ensure that corruption is eradicated.
All right, Barrister Peterson Ihunwueze, this has been a very deliberative session. I wish we had more time to carry on, but we would have to bring in the next guest into the studio.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
I'm grateful.
Well, that has been Barrister Peterson Ihunwueze, who is a legal practitioner as well as a public affairs commentator, talking to us about the numerous problems of the country and ways to foster peace and development in the nation.